Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today is finally the day where I'm going to depot my palettes and I'm a bit afraid of it. As you can see, I've already started because I just wanted to try out how hard it is to get the pens off this palette, because I wasn't sure if I want to kind of depot the pens or if I want to repress the eyeshadows in round pens. But because it was quite easy to get this one here out, I think that I'm going to try and just depot them, and if it's not working I'm going to repress them, because actually I would prefer a round pen just to kind of store it in my magnetic palettes, and also for creating dupe palettes and everything. It's just easier to have the same size and the same shape for every pen. But if I can get them out, I think I will do it, because then I can keep more of the product. So we will be trying to depot these now. So this palette, I have already put it on my heater, but I think it's already cooled down. So we will see how easy it is to get them out. So as first I'm going to start just using my depotting tool, and I will see how far it will take me, and then we will see how it goes. I have just put some palettes here over the mirror so that you don't get blinded. So we will just start. I'm only going to depot the metallics in here because I'm not that fond of the mattes, so I'm not going to keep them. I'm just trying to get here into the side of the pen. And then I'm just trying to get underneath. Whew. Okay. So that's the first one. I think I got it out. There's only a bit, it's only a little bit disrupted, but I think it's good. So that's the first one. As you can see, that's how they are looking on the bottom. So after I'm done with depotting all of the metallics in here, I'm going to put some magnetic stickers on, and then I'm also going to write the names on them so that I know which color is which. So that's the first one. This one was successful. We will see how it's going to continue. So as you can see, there is a sticker down there, so I just have to get the sticker off, and then it's pretty easy to get it out. So for the metallics this is working pretty good, but I'm sure that for the mattes you can't do it, because if you bend the pen of the mattes they will break and then you have to repress them. So I think that if you want to get the mattes out, you either have to repress them into different pens or you have to cut the whole thing open. But I'm just too lazy for that, and again, I don't want to have the mattes, but I think I have to do it with my Jaclyn Hill palette, because I don't want to repress 20 different mattes and I want to get all of them out. So I think that I have to do it with that, but we will see later on. So this is the next one. And if you want to repress something, be sure that it gets a bit messy, so don't worry about that. But maybe put something on your table if you don't want to have it very dirty. So the good thing is that the cardboard is pretty bendable, so you can really get in there and then get the eyeshadow out. So this is the next one. Again, worked pretty good, in good condition. Okay, so this one here wasn't that easy. I had to bend the metal of the pen a bit, but I think that it's good it's still in the pen. So maybe I'm going to repress this one. Ah, they are so beautiful, these shades. Oh, I love this one. I'm so excited to have them as singles soon. Then let's continue with this one here. So again, everything's fine, but I had to really bend the pen, just pressing it down as I go. They are this putty formula, so I think that they're pretty easy to keep inside the pen, because you can really easily press them down. So this is that shade. So these two are my favorites. I hope that everything goes well with them. I'm always just trying to get in this little space between the pen and the cardboard. And often it's here on the top, so I hope that you can still see it. And then underneath I really have to get in there and get the glue off the pen. So this is all in one of my favorites. Let's just swatch it while we're here. Why not? It's so beautiful. I love this palette. I'm so excited to have these shades now. So the last one is this one here. So again, I'm trying to get into this little space between the pen and the cardboard. Okay, so this one is a bit wonky and it kind of wants to get out. Maybe I have to repress this one. But for now, I'm just tapping it down so that it stays in the pen. With metallics, it's way easier to do that, and especially with a formula like this. So that's it. That's the last one. My fingers are looking atrocious. This is the color. Love this one. This is so beautiful. If you like cool toned eyeshadows, this one is a dream come true. So these are all the metallics from this palette that I could depot. So as you have seen, it was quite easy to get them out. Usually it's a bit harder to get things out of the palette, so it was quite easy with this one. Those two here are a bit wonky, so you can see the pens are a bit wobbly and not straight anymore. So I think that I have to repress those two just so that they don't crack in the future. And so that I can put the sticker on, because I'm not sure if it's staying on if they are this wonky. So this was quite a success. I'm glad that I didn't have to cut the packaging open, because now I can give those mattes to someone else in this packaging and I can just keep the shimmers to myself. So this is quite a success for me. Then the next thing that I wanted to depot are my two Juvias Place palettes, and I haven't really decided what to do with those, but I think I want to repress all the big pans into smaller pans. And I'm not sure if I want to keep the mattes, but I think maybe I will. So I'm just going to show you how I repress one eyeshadow and then I do the others off camera, because it takes a lot of time and I only have one container where I do it in, so I have to clean it up afterwards and so on. So it takes quite some time to do that. So I'm just going to show it to you with one eyeshadow. So I think I want to start with this one here because I'm so excited to use this one. So I have this little compact here. It's from my Milani powder that I just used up. And this container is quite good for repressing because it's so big and I just have enough space to really get all the product in there. So I have my little depotting tool here. I'm sorry, my hands are full of glitter after depotting the eyeshadows from the NikkieTutorials and Beauty Bay palette. So please don't mind that. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I can see it very strongly. So I'm just going to kind of disrupt the whole eyeshadow. And then as I go, I'm going to put it into this little container here. So that's everything out there, so I can put this one here away. So now it's all in there, and what I'm doing is I'm just going to disrupt it a bit more so that it gets as tiny as it can be. And you can see it's quite a lot of eyeshadow, so it's good to have a big container. So now I'm going to use some alcohol. I think you can get it on Amazon, I don't know. I have put it in the sprayer from Smashbox because it doesn't have a pump and I think it's easier to use it this way. So I have cleaned it up and then I fill it with alcohol. I think it's enough to have like 94%, but just the highest percentage that you can get. And then I'm just spraying something on top. You really have to have enough in there so that it's all getting wet, so that you can kind of create a little like paste out of it. So So I actually think that that could have been enough. So now I'm just getting my new container. So I have this one here. So I just bought a pack of, I don't know, maybe 30 of these on Amazon. I'm trying to find everything and link it down below. So I'm just putting some of it in here. I'm pretty sure that it's not going to fit everything, but that's okay. I have to say that I really do like repressing. It's kind of fun to do. It's working pretty good. It's a pretty good consistency. So as you can see, it's not all wet, and that's better because then the drying doesn't take so long and you can't really do anything wrong. Just use enough so that you have a nice paste that you really can fill it up, because if you leave some cracks on the side, it will just break soon. So you just really have to get it everywhere so that it won't break when it's dry. Wow, I'm kind of shocked how much product goes in there. Those are pretty deep. These pants that I bought on Amazon are a bit deeper than regular pants that I have. And I know that the Juvias Place pants aren't that deep, they're a bit more shallow, so maybe that's why. Okay, so I think that's enough. Now I'm going to press it down. So I'm taking a little bit of tissue. So I'm just taking a tissue and I'm just putting it on top, and then I'm just pressing down with my finger. You can also use something else, like another empty pen, like this one here. I can also use this one here and just press it down. And you can see there is a bit of liquid here dissolving. And that's how it's looking like after pressing it. So it's pretty nice. So I hope that you can see it. It's pretty nice looking. So that's our first Juvias Place eyeshadow that I have repressed. I'm so excited. I'm going to press it one more time. And I'm using my thumb and I'm just pressing down there. And you can see there's a bit more liquid coming off. And then this is what it's looking like. So it has to dry, I think, for 24 hours. I like to just see if it's, yeah, it's beautiful. I think it survived and it did very well. So I would say it's looking good. But you can really see it after 24 hours. After it's really dried, then you can really see if it worked and if everything is right. So this is what I'm going to do with my Juvias Place palettes. I'm going to repress all of them. Now that I know that I don't really lose any product, because those pens are so deep, I think it's actually quite good to have these. And you can see I almost used up all the product in there, so I'm not really losing a lot. So that's good to know. So I'm going to repress all of them. And now let's take a look at my Alamar palette. So this one here is my Alamar palette, and I have just put it on my heater so that the glue gets warmed up so that it's easier to get the eyeshadows out. And I have already depotted 2 eyeshadows. I'm just going to show them to you. So this was here and this one was down here. because I just wanted to see if I can get them out easily or if I have to destroy the packaging, and it worked pretty easy. So I'm going to try and get them out without cutting open the eyeshadow palette. So I'm just trying to get the other ones also out like this, starting with the mattes as long as the glue is warm enough. So I don't know where the camera cut off, but I have already depotted this one here, and it cracked a bit around the corners, but overall I think it's looking good. The only thing is that the glue is very stubborn and it doesn't want to come off, so I think I have to try and get it off a bit, but for now it's okay. So this one here survived. Oh, look at that pigment. Oh my god. Great. Okay, let's continue with this one here. So it again cracked a bit, so I'm just pressing it down, dissolving, going over the crack so it disappears. And that's it. Another one survived. Oh, what a beautiful color. Oh, I love this color. This is so beautiful, this color. It looks so different in the pan. I don't know what I thought it would look like, but it's actually quite nice. Okay, now the last matte in here is this darker brown. Oops. Okay, so we lost a little bit. So this one here cracked, so I have to repress it. So now let's continue with the metallics. They're usually a bit easier. This one here is already moving around underneath. Oh yes, it's very easy. Okay, so I think the glue was the most warmed up, so this is that one. Then I'm going to continue here. So the metallics are actually quite easy to get out there. So it has some brown in there. And that's it. So overall, a lot of them have survived. So it's just easy for me this way because repressing is kind of fun for me. So I don't mind repressing one eyeshadow, and all the other ones did survive. So that's pretty good for me. So I'm quite happy with this one here. Hello guys, so I'm back. For me it's 3 days later, and for you it's hopefully only a few seconds later, because I've decided to come back on camera and talk to you about, I don't know, my kind of mistakes from depotting the eyeshadow palettes and how the repressing process went and everything else. And it took me 3 days to come back and film again because I just wanted to repress all the eyeshadows first, and the Juvias Place eyeshadows have been 18, and so it took me quite some time, and I just wanted to come back and tell you kind of what my mistakes were and what I would do different, and also I wanted to show you how to depot the matte eyeshadows in this palette. So it's still looking like this at the moment, but I just thought why not show you exactly how I depotted my Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette, and also how it went with the Alamar palette after I filmed. Because I thought that the matte eyeshadows survived, but they actually all had some cracks in them, and I had to repress all of them. So it didn't work to depot the matte eyeshadows like I showed you with the metallics and the shimmers. So I just wanted to show you how I depotted the whole Jaclyn Hill palette, because I've only had the mattes in there left, and so I just had to took apart the packaging and kind of rip off the cardboard, because otherwise I couldn't get the mattes out without them all breaking, and I just didn't want to repress all of them. They were so many, so I just didn't want to do that. So I found a pretty easy way to get rid of the packaging and kind of pop them all out. So I thought, why not jump back on camera and show it with this palette for you. So I'm just going to quickly show you how all the other eyeshadows are looking like at the moment. I do have 3 different palettes here. So in this one here are all the eyeshadows from the NikkieTutorials palette. So these are all the shimmers from this palette. And it was so easy to repress them because I could repress them dry, so I didn't have to add any alcohol to kind of make them creamy and repress them, because they are so creamy in texture. They have kind of like a putty texture, a bit like the Super Shock shadows from ColourPop, and so I could just break them all up with my little depotting tool and then repress them in these round pans. So it was so easy to do that, and I'm so excited. They look so stunning. So these are my crown jewels from my depotting session. I love them, and I'm so happy to have them as singles now. Then in this magnetic palette, in the top 2 rows are the shadows from the original Jaclyn Hill and Morphe palette. I only depotted the ones that I liked, so I didn't depot the 3 darkest shadows in there, and also some of the browns I didn't took out. But as you can maybe see, I had to repress this one here. This one is Pukey, and then also this one here. This one is called Roxanne. So those 2 broke while depotting them, but all the other ones survived and I didn't have to repress them. Oh, this one here, but it was already broken, so it didn't break while depotting it. So I repressed this one here too. So those 3 I have repressed, but the other ones all survived. So it was actually quite easy to get them out after I kind of destroyed the packaging. And then here down in this corner, there are the 4 shimmer shadows from the Alamar palette, and I repressed all of the mattes from the Alamar palette as well, because they just had little cracks in them and they didn't do very well, so I just had to repress them. And then in this palette here, I do have all my Juvias Place eyeshadows. So the first ones are all from the Saharan 2 palette, and then here starts the Tribe palette. And it goes down here. As you can see, these 3 eyeshadows here, I just repressed the last night, so they are still drying. They were pretty wet. You can see it here. Like the lighter color here is where it's already dried, and then the outer ring is just a bit wet still. So those 3 are still drying. This one here is already dry, and this one here too. And as you can see, some of them I could split up in 2 pans, and some of them I didn't, because this one here was the first one I showed you on camera, how to repress it. And then I repressed these 2 here the same way, so I added alcohol to repress them. And then I could fill up one of these pans to the top. But I did lose a tiny bit of product this way. And then when I started repressing all the other ones, I thought, why not try doing it dry like with the NikkieTutorials palette? And it actually worked out beautifully. So I could split up the product because there was so much in it, and now I have 2 pans of each color. So they're not filled up to the top. Let me show it to you. So there is a bit of room left, but I think they look pretty good, and now I have saved all the product of these colors. So I'm not exactly sure what to do with the double ones, but I decided later on. So these are all the ones from Juvia's Place, and I'm quite happy with how it all turned out. It took a long time to repress them all, and I don't know, repressing so many eyeshadows in a row, it wasn't that much fun. So I only did a few in the morning, then a few in the evening, and so on. That's why it took me 3 days, because I just didn't want to do all of them in once. So now with this palette, I just want to show you how to depot matte eyeshadows in a way that they hopefully don't break and you don't have to repress every single eyeshadow. So for me in this palette, there are only 3 shades that I would love to keep, and it's those 3 here in this corner, the yellow, the orange, and the pink. I don't have colors like this in my single collection, I think. I think the other ones I don't need to keep, but those 3 would be nice in my collection. So let's just get started with this one. So I just put something on top of the mirrors here, and now I'm taking my little depotting tool. So again, it's this one here. So my fingers are a bit stained from repressing all the greens and blues from the Juvia's Place palettes. So I think what we are doing first is to try and get this thing, the top thing here, off from the outer packaging, because then I don't have to worry about the mirrors. And it's actually quite easy to get under there. So I didn't put this palette on a heater now, and it's off. So that was quite easy. So now I can just put this thing away and we keep working on this one here. So what we have to do is we have to get under the pen to get between the glue and the pen to kind of remove it. So what I did was I just went in there with this little side of the spatula. Oh, it already broke. Okay, that's not a good sign. So this one is out now. You can see where it just went in and just tried to get the glue off the pen, but it has a crack in the middle, so I think I would have to repress this one. So we will try with the next one. So the glue is pretty strong in this palette, so I think I would recommend putting it on a heater, but I'm just going to continue like I do because I'm also going to repress those into little round pens. So it doesn't matter to me, but it has also some very small little cracks here. So I think maybe it's because the pens are so big and so shallow that they will just crack and you just have to repress them, or you just have to be very careful with them from now on. But I don't know. It worked way better with the smaller round pen ones in the Jack & Hill palette. I tried to get underneath it from here. Maybe that helps a bit. I feel like I couldn't really get the glue off entirely. Or maybe I did. Oh yes, okay, so it's out and it again has some little tiny cracks. Then the next one is this yellow here. I think that's a very unique yellow and I don't have anything like it in my single collection. Oh, this one was quite easy. So this is the first one that didn't get any cracks in it. So I could keep this one in this big pan if I want to. Let's see how it goes with the red. So this one here actually got a crack immediately when I started. So I don't know why some of them break easier than other ones, but it's out and it's looking pretty good. I don't know if they would survive actually. This is reminding me a lot of the blush palette from Menagerie Cosmetics, the Arthurine blush palette. It has kind of similar shades like this in it and they look very nice together. So the other thing that you could do is work with a little knife and just cut it open all the way through and then try to get the different layers of cardboard off this whole little thing until you have just the pans and the bottom left. I'm not so sure if that technique would work with this exact palette here because it has a pretty hard cardboard. The one from the Jack & Hill palette was way softer and easier to remove, so this one here is really hard to get through. So this is it now for this video. I hope that you found it helpful and that you kind of learn from my mistakes because I'm really not good at depotting, but it kind of worked for me. So I just wanted to kind of show you my process and just show you how I'm doing it and what happens if you do it that way. So just that you can kind of learn from it and maybe avoid the mistakes that I did. And I would highly recommend you being ready to just repress some eyeshadows and then kind of nothing happens, because if something breaks you can repress it and you still have it, so you don't lose any eyeshadows that way. Now if you enjoyed today's video, please hit the like button and leave me a comment down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I wish you all a beautiful day.